Hello everyone, I hope all of you are doing great. So basically in this video I'd like to show you a proper guideline about how you will onboard your Odoo client, how you will initialize the databases, and what should be the appropriate flow. Like it can be vary from person to person, it can vary from industry to industry, but more or less the standard path is same. And sometimes the functional consultant and the people who is actually initiating the databases, who actually doing the configuration, if the initial process is wrong, that will cause a lot more pain, a lot more issues in the future. When the client will start using the database, there will be a lot of chaos in the system. Okay, so in that reason, what I thought, like as per my experiences, I may guide you for some specific standard flow that actually you should follow at least as a functional consultant when you initialize databases in Odoo. And this process is will be both, like we will show a presentation like that, and we will also see in practical in Odoo database. Okay. So, how I can help you, because I have kind of 7+ years of experience in this field. I am working as a lead Odoo consultant at a Dubai-based Odoo company. I have also a certification on Odoo version 18 and 19, but that certification that only doesn't matter. It need to be a practical experiences. It need to be practical, implementation experiences that I have. Just learn through all the implementation process of different projects across different countries. Okay, so now as you see, the graph shows actually the fresh databases from configuration, from testing to the live business system. But in between of these processes, actually there are a lot of things that need to be considered and that need to be set up properly to up and run the system. Otherwise there will be some issues. So, as you see that, don't configure before you understand. That means a functional consultant or the functional owner of a project, it's his responsibility to understand the project very well. So it is the background of the project. It is the requirement, the business discovery, like what does the company sell or produce, what is their business flow, what kind of data do have, what kind of system they are currently using. Is it any legacy system, any Excel, any scattered system, or do they have any previous ERP system? Okay, and what is their business workflow in day to day? How many users they have? What are the access right between each users? These are all very important. And basically, when you will understand all of the process, then, as a functional owner, you will have an idea which modules are required for them, what workflow you need to configure in Odoo database, and what actually may be out of the box but need a customization. That then you will be able to tell the customer as an exact point. Okay, so it is very important to do the business discovery from the client side. It can be done through a separate question and answer session. It can be done through like an interviews or survey kind of forms that you can do with all of your questions related to Odoo, because customer know their process but they are not all familiar with the Odoo process. You need to minimize that gap. Okay, so, like this is the onboarding map. First of all, the first point should be the business discovery, as I mentioned. This involve the process interviews, the scope note, module list, and the timeline. So you need to understand an overall scope from the client, and it is your duty to discover that from their side. Then it comes about the database foundation. So, for example, the key activities should be first of all, for which country you're implementing this Odoo, because as you know, localization, different accounting structure and configuration depends on different countries around the world. So it is very important to identify the key country, fiscal localization, chart of accounts, fiscal year, different things, because these are some things that cannot be undone when there will be some transactions, then there will be some movement in the database, so that need to be pre-configured before. Then it comes about the company configuration. So here you will have the company record, the document layout, the email server, the time zone. Sometimes these things are like avoided by many functional owner, but these are very important. A document layout is as the things that left impression for your client for their client. So you need to identify, you need to show them what is available inside of Odoo. Is that satisfied? Are they satisfied with that? Is this layout is fine, or they need any customization? So as a functional owner, you need to first encourage them to see what Odoo already have for them. Okay. Then the email server, many of the clients on like send the invoice emails, any kind of emails that goes from Odoo by their email, so it looks professional. So you need to also ask about their email server. Time zone is an important thing. So sometimes if you are not actively set a proper time zone for the user, system may show like irrelevant time that user will not understand, maybe some differences between his current time zone. Okay, so this is also important. Then it comes about the users and master data. So this is a very important part. So you need to do a proper discussion with the client to understand their current access matrix of the people and their hierarchy. So for example, who will be the user, who will be the manager, who will be the boss, who will be the chief executive officer. Because to properly configure the access right in the system, properly configure the approval flow, that you must need to know. And sometimes this access matrix you can implement it later, but you should have the idea from the beginning, so that when you are planning about to configure the system, if there are any customization in the middle of this implementation, you can plan for that. Okay. Then like partners, products, opening balances, that all kind of master data. Do they import historical data, or only the importing balances has been fine? So this you need to discuss with the client and summarize what need to be final for the implementation. Okay. Then it comes about the module configuration. So as per your discussion, whatever you do in the business discovery, company configuration, users and master data, now we should be able to know which module in Odoo that we should configure for this implementation, right? Either sales, purchase, inventory, accounting, manufacturing. Some other modules may come up like field service, help desk, timesheets, website, e-commerce, anything. That depends on the scenario of this implementation. Then it goes to about testing. So when you have all the configuration is done, some primary master data has been imported, now you need to do the UAT, a proper UAT as per the scope of work, as per what you have signed with the client, that we will do that. This will be available in Odoo. A proper UAT should be done. Yeah, there will be role wise training, there will be a test script, there will be guidance, there will be UT sign up. Then the final chapter came, the go live and support. So go live checklist, that also you should prepare. You should also be consider about the backup. So for example, if you are using the Odoo SS hosting that is provided by Odoo Cloud, then the backup process is much smoother. It's already managed by the platform. But if you are hosting it on your own premises, if you are hosting it on a cloud service like Azure, AWS, GCP, then it is your responsibility to manage and plan about them. Daily monitoring, issue triage. So it's all kind of a complete package and job of a functional owner. There will be some involvement of the technical people, but more or less it's initiated by the functional people. Okay, because you will be as the front end side for the customer. So now let's move forward, that we're talking about like the database foundation, what we're talking, configure localization first, country, fiscal localization, chart of accounts, taxes, currency, fiscal year, local invoice requirements, local financial reports. Okay. So like these are the key things that you need to follow. Country is very important. As per the country, the chart of account, taxes, currency, these are all relevant and related to the country. Fiscal year, you should ask the client what is their country's fiscal year. It can vary from country to country. Local invoice requirements, so for example that we have talked about the previous slide about the document layout and that kind of things. Okay, and financial report, are they satisfied or do they need any customization? And here you see we have defined that confirm localization before creating accounting transactions. That means once you already have done some invoices, accounting transaction journals, system will like restrict you to change the localization later, the country later, the currency later, because it's not wise to change the currency when there is already some accounting transactions. Okay. So these are the like level of country level of configuration that you should worry about the first step implementation. Then the company identity. So every company have their own legal company name. So at the beginning of the implementation, it is your responsibility to properly set up the company information. You will ask about this data from the client. They will provide this, but you will insert them in Odoo. You will properly organize their company name, tax number, default currency. Do they have any invoice and quotation footer information, parent company or branches setup, address or contact, company logo, document layout, and bank information. So you need to set up this for almost every quotation, invoice, and purchase order, and do a validation that everything looks fine from your side. Okay. So now, moving forward, these are some also system foundations, like what will be the language in the system. Do they need multiple languages? What will be the time zone, date and format, date and number of format. So sometimes people may have a different calendar schedules, different date and time format requirements that you can also handle from front end, right? That we already talked about, the email server, the email templates, user notification. So sometimes, in Odoo we have a handle. Either we can manage the notification inside of Odoo or in email. So you also need to ask the user, do you need the email communication for every activities in Odoo, or the inside Odoo notification is fine? Then the multi-company structure. Do the company have multi-company? The document storage, what they will store the document, is it attachment based, or do they need the document management system in Odoo? The security settings and the backup process. So these are all are key attribute that you need to follow when you are configuring the system foundations. Okay. Then it comes about the right access for the right user. So as you were say, like, this is a kind of access matrix that maybe you can plan. Okay, for sales will be the user manager settings as per them, and you can divide it, or you can break that access matrix into like more micro pieces to understand their process and then implement in Odoo. So this practices is actually not standard or not fixed. It can be rediscovered, it can be reorganized by different functional owners when they are implementing Odoo. Okay. Then it comes about the data. So when you are giving the customer, it's your duty to give them an Odoo specific template. Just do not ask them share your customer data, supply data, product services, and product categories, because the system they are using right now, maybe Excel or any other ERP, it will not match as per the format that Odoo provides. Okay. So that's why first you need to export the template from Odoo, then you send it to your customer and you ask them to fill up the data. That will minimize many of the issues for the data cleaning, like mismatch of the headers, data type, etc. So once you receive the data, you should uh, collect the data, you should organize the data, you should check if the data is fine, you should clean it. If there is any missing and mandatory data, you should reach out to the client, and then actually you will map it, you will import it, and you will validate it. Okay, so that means the data is fine. So that do not import unverified data into production. What does that mean? That means in the UAT process, when you will do the data migration, if every data is correct, you can show your customer. So this is your data that will be look like in production. Once they have verified, then you update the data in production. Because once you update the data in production, all the data, there will be a lot of movement like journal entries, product opening balances. It will be a hassle again to revert the things, clean the data, and then do it again. So it's need to be a perfect, verified, validated data set when you are importing in Odoo into the production database. Okay. Then, like, the configure modules by business flow, sales, purchase, inventory, accounting, and manufacturing. We'll come about these slides later, but let's just go to the system. So for example, this is an empty database of Odoo. There is nothing installed here, no modules, no setup, nothing. This, so for example, I will onboard a client. It can be, let's say, Bangladeshi client. They have some, retail or distribution businesses. They do purchase product from different vendor, local or foreign, and they do sell product to customers. Okay, either B2B or B2C. So they have different kind of selling businesses, and they deal with a lot of products like electronics business, electronics product. Okay, some of them can be tracked, some of them not trackable, like via serial value, that kind of things is there. So what is the main priority, like before going to install any apps, what we can do, we can just going simply to the settings, and we can go to the users and this company's menu. This company's menu give us the options to exactly set up the initial company details. Okay, so for example, I will give you a company name, then you can set up a logo here. Obviously you can fill up the address, you can phone, email. Here you can select the country. So when you are selecting the country, Odoo will automatically map the currency, but it's not mandatory that you must need to go with that currency. Sometimes a country may have a different business nature with different currency, so you can change it from here, like USD, AED, whatever currency you want. For now, let's say I will go to the BDT currency. Okay, then I will save it. So once this is fine, that means this simple, this on configuration, if you do it at the beginning, you do not have to worry about any other accounting configuration. Like what will be the issue if I have any data? That is fine because the currency and country is same, perfectly configured. Now like if you go to the apps, right now we do not have any other settings. First we will do the app installation, then we will see the other things. For example, for our business, let's say we'll install sales, invoicing, CRM, we will do inventory, accounting, purchase. For now, let's say we will activate this modules. Okay, so this modules that I'm installing now, that also need to be identified. I should not install all the available modules that is in Odoo, right? Because then when customer will log in, you will see a lot of modules. Some module is not necessary, some is not relevant to their businesses, so it will cause issues. It will bring unnecessary questions to you as a functional owner, that okay, what should we do with this module? Do we really need that, or do we need to adapt any business process here? So it is better to install actually what is needed, so that when the customer log in, they see as per their requirement whatever they need, just that module only. Okay, so like when this module is installing, just to go back to the sheet, and it just gives us an overview of the configuration modules by business flow. That means when you will install the modules, each app have its own settings in Odoo. So, for example, in sales module, you need to worry about the sales teams. How many sales teams do they have? Do they manage sales team or not? What should be the price list configuration initially? What should be the discount rules? Do they manage any discount or not? You should activate the discount. Payment terms, how many payment terms do they have? It is also important to import the data, master data, right? Delivery and invoice policies, what is there in general delivery and invoicing policies in Odoo? Like, do they deliver the product first, then do the invoicing for the customer, or do they first invoicing and then deliver the product? And the approval requirements, what should be the approval process for them? Okay, this kind of things you need to know. Similar for purchase, like what should be the vendor onboarding process? Do they need any approval on the purchase? Vendor lead time, receipt and billing control. There can be some other settings. I cannot be like cover everything maybe, but I will just try to map whatever it is important and mandatory. Then there is inventory settings. So here you can see like warehouses and locations. This is very important that you need to set up. Then there is receipt and delivery steps. Then there is the routes and replenishments. Then there is lot of serial number setups and costing and valuation. Okay, then accounting, chart of accounts, journals, taxes, payment terms, bank accounts, opening balances. Then comes another module like manufacturing, bills or material of bill of materials, work centers, operations, manufacturing routes, and quality requirements. Okay, so this you need to identify and do the operations setup as per their workflow. So as you see, they like our module has been installed. So what we can do, like initially we need to see, okay, whatever module you needed is installed. Now just to go to this module, we need to go to the module list and do some configuration. But before that, let's just go to the general settings. You remember, as per the database foundation, we mentioned something about the time zone, language, translations. This is also important, okay, because this is the basic things that you should consider. So if you go to the settings, here is an activate the developer mode option, and you see here we have the translation options. If you go to the language, by default system will show you a default language options. So for example, English is already activated here, but if they need a multiple languages like Arabic, Bangla, or any other thing, you should activate it. And then when you activate it, there will be a language selection option here in the My Preferences in Odoo. Right now, if you go to the My Preferences, there is only one language selection option. Then it comes about the date format. So if you open any languages, you see it is giving you an option like what will be the date format. Is it date? Is it month, day, and year, or it should be day, month, year, or it should be year, month, day? What should the time format? What is the first day of it? That the smallest things that also you need to consider when you are implementing this, because let's say customer is like they are used to have their date format as year, month, date, but in Odoo suddenly they are getting this format, so it will cause some issues from their side. So you should change this to year, month, date, okay, whatever they have actually in their business process. You see here is the thousand separators, decimal separators. That is all kind of related to the languages. Okay. Once you have set up that languages and these things initially, then if you go to the general settings, you see any company information is missing, you can update the company information. And here is the document layout. So this document layout, you can uh, prepare an initial what available in Odoo, and you can get an idea from the client. Okay, is this uh, work for you? Is this okay, or do you need any customization? Actually, at the initial level, customization is not needed, right? Here is the bank account information, here is the footer, here is the tagline, everything we have option that you need to set up and you show it to your customer. Okay. And then in the general settings, like do they need to use their own customer email server? Okay, by default Odoo SIs will do their own job, but let's say if you are um, doing this setting in a VPS, then that means there should be a custom email server. Okay. And there is an option for customer account. Does this system allow free sign up, like anyone the public can sign up to your website if it is an website module is installed, or from the login page, or you will do an on invitation only? So for example, only those users will have access or login permission that you are inviting. Okay. Then enable two-factor authentication, that kind of settings, like what will be the progressive web app name. This is just you need to do a full screening and you need to set up whatever is necessary, then you save the settings. Now this general settings is fine. The email server, definitely if you go to the technical, and here you will have option to outgoing mail server, and you can do a outgoing mail server configuration. You can give a name, you can like set the priority. Authentication is a Gmail, Outlook, others email service provider. Then it comes about the connection type, that all you need to set up as per the provider that you are doing the setup. Username, password, you test the connection, then the email should be out from the system. And there are many scenarios where you need to set up multiple email servers based on multiple user of that company. So for whenever Mr. A is replying, Mr. B is replying, Mr. C is sending an email from Odoo, it should goes from their email. That you need to discover for the client and get all the access and set up it here. Okay, because first time customer will not understand how Odoo is sending the email, where we need to configure that in this email server. So now if you go to the settings, and now here we have the module wise specific settings, right? So as a functional people, I understand that you have all the knowledge what uh, process does what, but it is important to activate only those settings what is applicable to this client. Unnecessary settings is not needed here, right? So for example, if you go here, let's say self process, that kind of settings maybe we can do for purchase, inventory, accounting. So let's go on by on. So for example, this recurring revenue thing, so let's say that I will only manage CRM for lead collections. I will not need this recurring invoices thing. So lead will be there. I will do multi teams because I have more than 5 to 6 teams in my company for the client. So I'll select multi-teams. This is fine. Like for this, I will do this for now. Okay. And this lead mining, I don't need it. And this lead investment, I also don't need this term. Okay. But lead investment, I can keep it for now. Then I will do SEBs. So you see, I unchecked some settings. So it's trying to uninstall on module. If you show all CRM I have mine. So this actually I don't need because I will not using automatic lead generation or nothing. It can only come from my website, my other sources. So I will uninstall and I will just disable this unnecessary settings. So my CRM is now okay. Now based on these settings, in when the people will go to the CRM module, they will have option to configure multiple sales team, salesperson as per their hierarchy, right? Then let's come about the sales module. So let's say this is the part of variant. So as the client do business with electronics business. So for example, laptop, computer, microphone, and different kind of mobile phone. There will be a lot of variants, right? For a laptop, it can be Core i5, Core i7, Core i9. RAM can be 8 GB, 16 GB, 24 gig, 32 gig. So that means variants will be needed for them. Initially customer will have no idea what variants, how to manage variants. You need to tell it the customer that okay, for variant product you don't need to create multiple product each time. You create one product and you manage them by variant, because Odoo provides you this option and it is already available inside of Odoo, right? Then unit of measures and packaging you need to available. The customer do provide discounts, so you need to enable these settings. This you need to ask them, are you providing any promotions, loyalty or gift card? So for example, initially they say okay, no, we do not have that kind of things, so you uncheck the settings. Price list will be needed for you. Do you need to show margins on the orders? If yes, then settings the margin. Then you see the lock confirm self. When the sell order is confirmed, no one should edit it. This is a good feature, it should be enabled. Okay. So this is kind of things. So for example, some basic things you need to configure. What should be the invoicing policy? Invoice what is ordered or what is delivered. So let's say their policy is when they only delivered the product to the customer, after that they do the invoices. Okay. And that kind of things actually you need to consider about the settings. Now let's say you are going to the purchase. Do they need purchase approval? If not needed, log confirm purchase order. Okay. Purchase agreements. So you see this blanket order agreements things. What does this feature do? This feature enables the option to compare different vendor pricing, lead time, and quantity wise a comparison dashboard for the client, so that they can easily do a decision which vendor is giving their best prices, best lead time. Okay. So if they do that kind of things already but manually, but we have these things available in Odoo, right? So you should enable these settings. Some settings will already be enabled because we already enabled this in sales, and that kind of things is there. Now it comes about the inventory. Do they manage packages? So for example, they are not doing any packages. uh, do they have delivery methods like other delivery? So for example, this one also they do not have. Now here comes about some important part. How do they trace about their products? As I have mentioned, like for this client, they are managing their products through serial number, lot, and traceability. So I'll enable these settings. And do they have any product that have expiration dates? If not, then you don't need to check it. When this is applicable, for example, any medicine related products, any chemical products where they purchase it by lots, it is important there, right? Then display lots and serial numbers on delivery slip, and display lot and serial number on invoices. I just need to show the invoices number when I deliver it to the customer. Valuation, the landed cost things. So when they will do the landed cost, it is important for them to calculate the other cost yet. Like if they do the product import, there can be labor charge, there can be shipping charge, there can be freight charge, any kind of charges that is applicable. So you can enable the landed cost. Storage location, do they have multiple storage location rather than on? You should check this on, it is important. Multi-step route. So what does multi-step route means? Do they deliver the product in on shot, or do they have any peak pack or deliver that kind of things? That also you need to enable as a function of people. Okay. So that's the things about inventory. If you go to the accounting, in accounting most of the settings you will notice that it will be set up, but some things like do business with the customer credit limit, default terms and condition, and authorized signatory on the invoices. That all kind of setups actually you need to consider when you will initialize a database. Okay, and all the settings is done, you have done everything properly. You also need to configure, you also need to create record when you are inserting them in Odoo carefully, because everything has its own impact, right? So for example, if I go to the inventory now, and if you go to the operation types that I just mentioned about the uh, multi-step routes, right? So for example, if I go to the delivery orders, so whenever they do any job, for example, okay, so now let's say for example, if you go to the warehouse, I told that there is some warehouse specific settings, right? The is multi-step routes, the shipment policy of incoming shipments, outgoing shipments. It is on a step. If it is two steps, if it is three steps, like receive, quality control, then store. All the things we have to configure. This is not related to settings, but related to warehouse. So it's not all about settings only. There are some internal configuration that you need to do properly. For example, another configuration is very important. If we go to the product category, and whenever you're creating a new category, you need to think about the costing method. You need to ask about the client what is their current practices and what will be in Odoo. What should be the inventory valuation process? What should be the correct account mapped here as per the chart of account? Okay. So everything should be here as per their business, as per their strategy, and the data that you are importing from them. Then actually, in accounting, if you go to the accounting settings, there are several things that you need to verify for them. By default, Odoo creates all the default accounts, journals, gain loss account, suspense account, internal transfer account. So all of these accounts can be changed based on client's current chart of accounts, right? But you need to tell them to the client that we already have that kind of accounts in Odoo. So if that works for you, we do not need to recreate the chart of accounts, then change the settings again, because this is the same thing, same type of accounts. If you are can just even we can rename the account in the system, so we need do not need to do the entire settings again. Okay, what will be the like default income account, expense account, down payment account. Here also the inventory valuation settings, as you see. So all the settings is here, but that need to be verified, that need to be confirmed with the client. Okay, so like this is an overall a short summary about how we should implement a fresh database, how should we plan about the app installation and the customer, as per their requirement, the module settings, module implementation, general settings, document layout, company localization, and whatever the thing we have in Odoo. So that kind of procedure you can follow. It may not be the best or accurate or 100% flow that every company practice, but it's a general guideline, a general practice that you should follow. Okay, so this is all about that kind of settings we should follow in Odoo. And you see that whenever you do the settings, whenever you do the correct setup, then the comes about phase comes about for testing and training. So when you do train them well, you train about the flow, the real user should test all the cycle as per their business. And whenever the real users will validate the system, actually then you will get some support, you will get some issues, you will get some scenario that may be not captured yet, then you need to fix that part only. So the benefit of maintaining this checklist, the benefit of maintaining everything from the beginning, when the real user will start testing, it will give a small bucket of issues. Okay, but when you will not do a proper settings configurations, you will not take care about every details of that system, then when the real user will start testing the system, you will get a huge number of issues. They will say, okay, this is not done, this is not how we do, this is not our chart of account, where is variance, where is the lot and serial number options, that kind of things. So that you need to be careful about when you're implementing the Odoo. Okay, so this is all about this video. I hope this may be a help for you and your Odoo journey. So thank you for watching this video.